Welcome to the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. Here's your host, Brien Hanley.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your man, Big B, Brien Hanley. Welcome back to the Big 12 Insiders. Today is our power rankings. We got our man, Tim Fitzgerald, as always, with us. Big 12, even though there were only 5 games last week, Fitz, the conference and the power rankings got turned upside down all over the place. The Big 12 conference, it never disappoints, Fitz. It never disappoints.
No, it doesn't. And the question becomes with Kansas State's loss at Houston, they had a problem in Houston. Does that shake up the top 4 that's been solid for a few weeks? We're going to find out.
Yeah, we'll find out all of that and more. Again, for people that are just joining us, maybe for the first time, we compare my power rankings to the power rankings of the publishers that cover all 16 teams within the conference for 24/7 sports. So I put together this list based on what it is, how people are playing now versus all throughout the season. But you got to take into context some of this stuff as far as right now. I know that we could look back a month ago and see how somebody was playing, but then that's not how they're playing today, and that's kind of how power rankings work, in my opinion. So without further ado, we will get into that. But before we do, remember to like, follow, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We are getting very, very close to 3,000 subscribers, Fitz. So we are close. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure that you do. Continue to leave those comments and hit the notification bell so you know when all Big 12 Insiders content is coming out. Basketball season has started. Me and Fitz are going to figure out exactly what to do with basketball. Look, I'm a football first guy. I'm always going to be a football first guy because I don't even think basketball season should even be started yet. But that's just my personal opinion. But we'll figure out all that good stuff as we go. But let's get to these power rankings. So 16, Oklahoma State. Can't win a game. Can't stop the run. Can't run the football. Teams look like they've quit. Horrible football team right now, Fitz. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Oklahoma State is bad right now. They are at 16.
Time to go with a young quarterback. Time to go young all across the board. Time to see who wants to play football, who wants to coach football, because I'm beginning to wonder about Mike Gundy. His press conferences are getting bizarre. I feel for Oklahoma State fans. This isn't just a bad season. This is historically awful, and it's probably the end of an era. I don't know how, when your coach is kind of showing the demeanor he is right now, how he can continue down this path. Yeah, that he doesn't seem real interested in coaching a good football team. I can't explain it. That may not be a proper explanation, but what's going on at Stillwater is troubling. And as I said, I feel for Oklahoma State fans. They're awesome.
Yeah, they got to make a change. I don't know about necessarily a coaching change, although that might be on the horizon. They got to make a change in personnel, but what they definitely have to do is a change in philosophy.
Yeah,
football players are not good enough at Oklahoma State right now. They're not playing a cohesive football. But worse than we've said this about another team within this conference, which is Baylor, where it looked like their coach was on his way out and the team did not quit and kept fighting. Oklahoma State is literally the exact opposite. Nobody was talking about Mike Gundy leaving or whatever the case may be, and his players have quit. So it's crazy how that works sometimes. At number 15, I've got Utah. I know they didn't play last week, but Utah's not a good program right now. They have trouble. They can't score. They can't move the football. Their quarterback problems are a mess. They're just not good. They can turn it all around and save their season this week, Fitz, with a win in the Holy War. I don't know that I necessarily expect that to happen. BYU is very good, but anything can happen in this conference, as we've seen. But as of right now, I've got Utah at 15.
Yeah, we're exactly where they probably belong. We'll see if the publishers agree with that. You're right. This is their shot at some form of salvation, because let's be honest, this isn't a normal rivalry. It stinks to lose to your rival, but it upsets your DNA at Utah or BYU to lose to your rival. And this game's in Salt Lake City also. So you'll not only lose to your rival, but on your home field. Yeah, if Utah has anything left in it, this is when it needs to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta fight. Gotta fight. I'm not going to say Utah's quit because I don't think they have. I just don't think they're very good. And there's a huge difference between your team not being very good and your team quitting. This next team, number 14, Arizona, I think it's a little bit of both. I think they've quit, and I don't think they're very good. Now, there's going to be some people that are like, Arizona is not as good as Utah. Look, I get it. Arizona beat Utah. That's the only reason I put them ahead of it. And I know it happened so long ago. I get that part. But we're talking about two bad football teams. If one was good and one was bad, I would feel differently about something a month ago because I know I just said, hey, it's not based on what happened a month ago. But both of these teams stink. And when they're both bad, this is the result. I'm going to put Arizona ahead of them just because they beat them. And not only did they beat them, they physically whipped them, which Arizona doesn't look like they're capable of physically whipping a high school JV team right now.
No.
But I don't know what's going on there. Lot of talk, Fitz, that they may be on their way to making a coaching change because Arizona faithful are like, look, this was a year we were trying to take a step forward. Last year was great. We were supposed to capitalize on this year. And not only have we taken a step back, we have jumped off the cliff backwards. Not what they're looking for. I don't know exactly what's going on in Arizona, but they're not in a good way right now.
Arizona State gone and stole their season.
Yeah.
I mean, these two programs are where the other one was thought to be. And, look, if you're going to make a coaching change after one season, it has to be more than just on the field things. There has to be weirdness behind the scenes and some chaos and other things that are troubling the program. That I think in hindsight, that look of meeting with boosters an hour before kickoff could be fatal. That's not focused on the task at hand. We'll see what plays out. I suspect he'll make it to a year 2, but if you're Arizona, you're looking at that. Well, if we give him a second year and it happens again, well, we've just erased everything that happened in 2023. It's gone. It didn't matter a damn thing. So
Right.
This will be a storyline to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Number 13, UCF, another team that was picked to be a lot higher than where they currently are. They got a big win, but that big win was against Arizona. So, kind of is what it is. Look, UCF, I couldn't figure them out. I don't know if they just weren't good. They couldn't figure out their quarterback. They finally figured their quarterback out this late in the season, or possibly figured it out this late in the season. That's a mistake, a coaching mistake, colossal one at that. And it derailed their season. They couldn't move the football, constantly turned it over with the quarterback play. Maybe they found their guy, maybe they haven't, but right now at UCF, this is right where they belong at 13.
Yep. And this program has one of the better offenses in the Big 12. I was messing around in the stats this week, and they're the top running program. They're one of the top passing programs. With quarterback issues, I can't explain it, but here we are. This bottom 4 of your standings, that would have been in the upper 8 at the start of the season. It's insanity. Absolute insanity.
Craziness. At number 12, I've got West Virginia. Some people might have them a little higher.
Yeah.
I don't. I see what West Virginia is. Again, didn't play. Maybe we'll see something a little bit different, but right now I think this is where I think they're teetering. I think West Virginia is teetering right now. I think they got to get a win this weekend and win a couple down the stretch here to kind of salvage some stuff. Technically, I guess you would say they're not out of the Big 12 race, but you can say that about a lot of teams. So technically they're not out of it. But West Virginia, right now, this is where I see where they're at based on how they're playing right now. Got to see something this weekend from them, though.
Yeah, I don't think this is a bad football program. I find this very frustrating because I think they're still okay, but they just they're not polished at all. They're like they're missing. They skipped finishing school, and now they're eating food with their hands. I mean, I don't know how to explain this. This should be a better program. So here they are. This is what they are. You are what your record is, buddy.
Correct. And the thing about it, like I said, I want to see this weekend because they play Cincinnati, who is a good football team. If West Virginia can somehow win this game, a lot changes for them. It's a big game between those two, but we'll see. A lot of stuff out of West Virginia, too, with coaching and some statements. A lot of weird stuff. Hopefully they can right that ship there.
Yep.
At number 11, Houston Cougars. Some people might have them a little bit lower than this. I don't know why you would, to be honest with you, for what they've been able to do this year. Signature win for Willie Fritz in year one. They got it over Kansas State. They're still not playing just great offensive football, but they did enough. They had a quarterback go 11 for 11 in a football game in a driving rainstorm. It was like a monsoon in Houston, and yet they were able to win that football game. Their defense continues to be very, very good. I've got Houston at 11, and I don't feel bad about it at all, Fitz.
No, they found a way to win on Saturday. They're behind by 2 scores in the fourth quarter. K-State opened the door, and Willie Fritz said, "Thank you very much," and stormed his team right through that door. The dude can coach.
Yeah.
I mean, we all thought they would be bad. They looked bad earlier in the year, and here they are. 3 Big 12 wins.
Yep.
3. Yep. Some of you think your program's a lot better than this rebuild that Willie Fritz is having at Houston. Wrong. He's winning football games, including knocking off one of what we expected to be the top teams in the conference.
Yep. And you know what? I'm going to toot our horn a little bit here, Fitz. We said that Houston was going to beat a team or two that they are not supposed to beat or not predicted to beat this season, other than maybe bottom feed or right. Bottom of the conference type of schools. We said it was going to happen. It happened Saturday. So
it sure did.
Good for Houston. They are on the right track there. So
exactly.
Let's reveal the first 6 here compared to the publishers. Oklahoma State the same. They flipped Arizona and Utah. I kind of get it, I guess. Yep. I understand. Arizona's bad. I mean, Arizona is bad, so I'm not upset about that one. The Kansas one, yeah, I don't agree.
I don't either.
Yeah, Kansas got to be higher than that. I know where they're currently at in the standings, but if we're just doing it based on how teams are playing, Kansas, I think, has to be higher than that. But not too far off.
Yeah.
Not too far off here. They got Houston at 12, TCU a little lower than I would have them. But yeah, and not horrible. Not horrible.
Shaking it out.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yes.
Number 10. This is where I have Kansas. I've seen Kansas play. Kansas seems, even at the loss that they had 2 weeks ago to Kansas State, they played a lot better as a football team. And it might just be the turning point. They have a huge game this weekend, Fitz. A gigantic game for them as they host Iowa State. Now, host is air quotes because the game's in Kansas City. And because Kansas is getting a new stadium, as most of you know. So, but I think also most of you know, Iowa State is going to have more fans at this football game than Kansas. And it might be, 2/3 of however many people are there, 2/3 of those fans, in my opinion, are going to be Iowa State fans. So while it might be technically a home game, this will be a home crowd in favor of Iowa State. But Kansas got a big opportunity here. They're at number 10. I think they're getting better. They're starting to play better. And at the beginning of the year, we saw the talent. We talked about the coaching. Maybe they're getting it together, Fitz.
Yes. But let me point out for the newcomers to this conference, because we have, 4 new schools, about the Iowa State culture. Iowa State, based on the Big 12 basketball tournament, thinks Kansas City is Cancun.
Yeah.
And every time Iowa State visits Kansas City, it's spring break. There will be it's a technical measurement crap load of Iowa State fans at this game. There will be. And they might lose. Kansas, this is a game Kansas has to have circled as a save dignity game because they've got a gauntlet here down the stretch. No doubt about it. Colorado and BYU also. So this is a game I think KU's probably looking at as one they can win. but they're going to have to do it on a neutral field that they can't even claim ownership of for the day, other than the fact they'll be wearing the home jerseys.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So, like I said, I like them here. Big opportunity for Kansas this weekend and for them to move up in the power rankings as well. Number 9 got TCU. I'm still not sure what to think of TCU. Look, they let one get away on Saturday. I shouldn't say they let one get away. Baylor won the game. It was like the team that had the ball last in this football game was going to win. That's exactly what it was. Again, I don't think that TCU is a bad football team, but I don't think they're a great football team. They're just kind of in the middle in this conference right now, Fitz, and that's right where they are. They got an opportunity to get to a bowl game and win some more of these conference games. But 9, I think, is pretty fitting for the Horned Frogs right now.
We should get a win this weekend. Oklahoma State rolls into Fort Worth. If you don't win that, oink. But they should. And that'll continue to creep them up. They're going to end up in the upper stratosphere of this conference after looking pretty shabby at the start. So congratulations to the Horned Frogs.
Absolutely. And again, another team that didn't throw in the towel when, again, some weird things were happening within, but did not throw in the towel. Number 8, I think the embodiment of not throwing in the towel is Baylor. Baylor had every reason to just give up on the season, losing on Hail Marys and people wanting their coach fired immediately and everything that happened. He kept them together. And here we are, 5-4, 3-3. I don't think anybody would have said this a month ago, Fitz. No. This is where this Baylor football team would be. Congratulations to Dave Aranda. Congratulations to those kids on that football team for not quitting and for them keep fighting. 8 seems right to me, in my opinion. I like what this Baylor look, they got an opportunity. 7 wins is not out of the question,
no.
Fitz. It's not, So I like where they're at right now. You knew the talent was there. They're playing some good football right now.
They're going to take a week off, gather themselves, right? They're off.
Yep.
We'll see what comes out on the other side, but kudos to Dave Aranda for getting his players to stay the course, because honestly, what happened at Colorado, that would break faith of a lot of locker rooms.
Correct.
That they lost that game and how they lost it, but they didn't. They stayed the course, and here we are.
Absolutely. Good for them at number 8 there. At number 7, I got Cincinnati. This is moving them down a couple of spots when they didn't play. But that's life in the Big 12 sometimes. Circumstances are what they are. I think Cincinnati has real opportunity again. Big game against West Virginia. But I would say that Cincinnati fans, look, they lost the last time out at Colorado, but they kind of fought to the end. Colorado's a better football team. That game's at home. If the game's in Cincinnati, maybe it's a little different. I don't know. But I like them at 7. And again, they got some things coming up in the next few weeks that, they can, I shouldn't say separate themselves, but propel themselves into a bigger stage or a bigger status within the Big 12 conference.
Step 1, take care of West Virginia at home this weekend. It's a early kick, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we actually have an 11 a.m. kick in the Big 12. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone put down what you're doing. Hold on, that's not the Anchorman line at all. Anyhow, 11 a.m. game. You get to watch West Virginia at Cincinnati. This is a huge game for both programs. This isn't in any way a rivalry game. These two teams don't have a lot of history. It's a regional game, which is good. Not much of that's happened for West Virginia in the past, but it's huge. It's huge. Both programs need this one, particularly if you're Cincinnati, because you got something you can prove over the next couple weeks.
Absolutely, they do. A lot of things in front of Cincinnati. To get to Arlington, they're going to need a lot of help.
Yeah.
But as we've seen, that's something that's not out of the question in this conference. Help seems to be right around the corner if you need it. So we'll see what happens. At number 6 might be a surprise, but not to me, Kansas State. Look, that was a bad loss to Houston.
Yeah.
And if you're paying attention to Kansas State's not in a good way right now. They're just not. I know they had won 4 games in a row, but they hadn't looked good the last couple of weeks. Been dominated at the line of scrimmage. Houston did it again to them. Teams have figured out how to stop them from running inside the tackles. And if you can do that, got to make some changes. Kansas State hasn't done that. I think the bye week hits them at a good time, so maybe they can reset and regroup. But as of right this second, Kansas State, for me, is number 6 in the power rankings, Fitz.
Yeah, I wrestled what to do with them. I mean, we saw this game. I saw it in person. Houston ended up being the better team. They took advantage of mistakes. They forced mistakes. They dictated that game down the stretch, which is what a good coach can do with his team. Yeah, you said it. K-State's got some things to sort out offensively. They need to come up with some answers and some different things to get them going. But they have an off week, and then they have a couple home games against pretty good teams in Arizona State and Cincinnati before they go to Iowa State. This is a really interesting stretch for Kansas State. They better make the most of this off week, because those last 3 games, you could offer. You really could, and just unring everything you did with this season.
Correct.
And or you could win them all. You don't have control of your fate anymore, but you could win them all and see what happens in the rest of the conference. But this is going to be a very interesting final month of football for the Kansas State Wildcats.
It will be, yeah. And again, this is where I believe they are. They're just not in a great way right now. But as I mentioned before, in this conference, if you take care of your business and you need some help is literally right around the corner. So all is not lost for the Kansas State Wildcats, but they got to get things turned around. Number 5, Texas Tech. I'm moving them up, Fitz. I wrote them off for dead. Got blown out by Baylor 2 weeks ago. Gave a game away to TCU last week or the week before, and then out of nowhere, they go to Ames and they win. I'm giving them credit for it. They're in the thick of the Big 12 race. You know, something that I didn't think we were going to be able to say after last week. I can admit when I'm wrong. I had no even thought that Iowa State wouldn't beat Tech. Congratulations to the Red Raiders, their fan base, coaching staff, players, all of that. And they can keep this thing going. We tried to write them off. They said no. And here they are. They've got an opportunity, especially this weekend, because they play Colorado. You know, so they got an opportunity to really do some damage and put themselves right in the thick of getting to Arlington. This is what they were asking for. And a lot of times you get what you ask for. Well, here's their opportunity, but I'm going to reward them and put them at 5 in the power rankings this week, Fitz.
It's all in the line. I mean, if you really believe you are among the best of this conference this season, you need to defend your home field and beat Colorado. And Colorado's a good football team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, right now the Big 12 championship is BYU and Colorado. Those are the 2 best teams in the conference for me. Iowa State's right there, but we'll see. We'll see if Colorado can prove it one more time on the road. I think they're the better team. But Tech, you got a little life now. Let's see what you do with it. I'm not sold on Tech. I'm going to be honest with you, Red Raiders. I've seen enough up and down here that troubles me that the down cycle might be coming, but it doesn't have to. Saturday's huge.
Saturday is gigantic. Like I said, I'm rewarding them for what I would say was everybody writing them off, and they said, no, our season is not over. We are not going to go back to being mediocre. We're going to show everybody what we can do, and they did it. So congratulations to them. Let's reveal the next set here. Cincinnati and Baylor, we have the same. They got Arizona State at 5, Kansas State. They don't have there. They have Tech at 6, West Virginia at 9. So it's not too far off. It's not too far off. The real one is the UCF. They have UCF at 10. I don't see how you put UCF at 10. I really don't.
I agree with you. It's interesting that Kansas and UCF are swapped.
Correct.
And I agree with you. I think, UCF just won, but I think Kansas is playing better football. God, I'm supporting someone because they're losing better. I think Kansas is going to be okay. This is, like I said, they get sorted out. There's 2 big opportunities here for Kansas and Texas Tech on home fields, if you want to call that Arrowhead and home field for KU, against pretty good football teams. Prove it or lose it weekend for those 2 programs.
Absolutely it is. Again, Big 12 could literally be turned upside down on its head this weekend. Yep. So let's trudge on. At number 4, I got Arizona State. I'm rewarding them again. That was a very impressive win that they had. And again, I know it's Oklahoma State, but they whipped them. They just physically just whipped them. Now, everybody physically whips Oklahoma State, but if you're better and you're the more dominant team, your job is to go in and dominate a football game, and that's what they did. I'm moving Arizona State up. They are at number 4 for me. I like what they got going on. Their quarterback came back after being out and missing a game. Played very, very well. Arizona State's got it rolling right now, Fitz.
Well, it looks like no Cam Scattaboo this weekend. He got dinged up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's kind of important for the Sun Devils.
Yeah.
We'll see if they can do it without him. But I just want to say this. I'm a big Scattaboo fan. I love the way he plays. He plays with heart and passion. I think it fuels the entire team. But I'm going to discourage Arizona State fans from naming their offspring or their pets Scattaboo. It doesn't work, folks. You can't do it. It's not one of those cute little nicknames, like you can name your dog, I don't know, Deuce, like do I have to Deuce Vaughn or something? No, don't name your children. You can name your son Cam, but Scattaboo's just a weird name. Don't go with it. Incredible running back. Amazing football player. He will bruise you and your feelings all in one play.
Absolutely will. Plays hard, plays with tenacity. Just a really, really good football player. Means a lot. So we'll see if he plays this weekend. I think he was doubtful and now it's questionable, but you know how the coach speak and all that stuff goes. We'll see. When he's out there and he plays, we'll know.
Yep.
So, but either way, I like Arizona State at number 4. Number 3, I've got Iowa State. Drop them down one spot. You could say some people may want to drop them down even more. But look, they lost by 1 point at home, and Texas Tech is not a bad football team. And what I said the other day in the recap show, this was not like some extraordinary game that Texas Tech played to win. It was just, here's a football game. They won it. They didn't have some Herculean effort.
No,
and Iowa State didn't play horrible. Some people tried to say in the comments that Iowa State played that. No, they didn't. They just lost. It's okay. It happens. It's conference is nuts. But I still think they're at number 3 until proven otherwise. I do think this is a really big game for them. Not that all games aren't huge, but this is a big one. Again, right. It's going to be a home game. It's going to be a home crowd for Iowa State in Arrowhead. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. They need to handle their business against Kansas because, again, although I'm not sure how all the tiebreakers and all that work with them. I think it does actually favor Colorado at this point, but who the hell knows? They just got to keep winning football games because one more slip up, depending on who they lose to. And if you look at their schedule, it's like if they lose to some of these teams, they're not going to win those tiebreakers. No. So they got to win. And it's a big weekend.
I might have spoken out of turn. I don't know who has a tiebreaker right now between Iowa State and Colorado. They're still in good position, but they seem to me to have more tests ahead of them than Colorado does. I think that's probably why I said that. And this is more of a test than it looks like on paper. So go in there, head down to Cancun, grab a tan, a 12-pack of Busch Light, and win a football game and go home.
Yeah. Big weekend for Iowa State. At number 2, I've got Colorado. You said it best. I think they're the second best team in this conference. I think they're playing that way. I think their confidence is riding high. I think they've got some of the best talent as far as top-tier talent in this conference. I'm still not sold on that offensive line, but I do know their offensive line is better. I know that, and I know their defense is playing better. Basically, from the middle of the third quarter, well, maybe the middle of the fourth quarter of that Kansas State game to now, that defense is playing really well, not giving up rushing yards. Give Colorado all the credit. Nobody thought they were going to be here at the beginning of the season. I was one of those people. Although I'm a prime supporter, I was like, it doesn't look any different. Well, it's starting to look different. I should take that back. It does look different, Fitz. Yeah. It just looks different than what it did at the beginning of the season. So the adjustments that they made, I think, is incredible. A lot of people giving credit to Warren Sapp for what he's brought to the table as a defensive line assistant, just basically not putting up with any nonsense and telling guys what they need to do, and they're listening. They're responding. I like where this Colorado team is right now. Still got a ways to go. Big weekend this weekend. but they're in position. They're in the catbird seat, maybe. Again, Big 12 tiebreakers. Who knows what that stands? But I like this Colorado team right now.
Yeah, they're conference title worthy. Now they just got to clean up some of those steps along the way. But if you're a defensive lineman and Warren Sapp tells you to do something and how to do it, you know what you do? You do it
Yes.
because he kind of knows more than you. It's the coaching is beginning to take hold, and this looks like a pretty good football team right now. Do they have flaws? Yeah, of course they do. They've got a couple losses, but they also seem like a team that could run the table and make it to the playoff, which I imagine ESPN would like an awful lot based on TV ratings.
Yeah. Speaking of that, and I was just gonna to come back with that, college football playoff. If Colorado, here's the thing for me. Even if they don't have the tiebreaker Fitz and Iowa State wins out and Iowa State owns the tiebreaker, you'll never convince me that if Colorado wins out, first of all, they're going to be ranked in the top 15. They are getting an invite to the college football playoff.
So too.
End of story, end of discussion. I don't want to hear anything other than that. If you don't believe that, you're just kidding yourselves. They went out, and even if they don't have the tiebreaker over Iowa State and Iowa State wins out and they go to the Big 12 title game, Colorado's getting invited. Period. End of story. You can say it's because of eyeballs. Well, a lot of the schools that are going to get invited are because of eyeballs. Don't just make this a Colorado doesn't deserve it. There's plenty of teams in the SEC and the Big Ten that are going to get invited because of eyeballs, not because they're the best teams in the country. So just keep that in mind. And then at number one, I've got BYU. Again, they were off.
What?
Gigantic game this weekend against Utah. They're the better football team, but we've seen rivalries go many different ways. Not to mention the Big 12 Conference, just games in general go many different ways. BYU's got an opportunity here. Everything is in front of them. Everything they want to accomplish is literally right in front of them. But this is a big one. But as of right now, they are the best team in this conference.
They really are. They really are. I get to watch the Holy War this weekend. I got a weekend off. It's going to be wall-to-wall football. We go from 11 a.m. kick to God knows when that game will finish, 1 a.m. And I am fully engaged this weekend. My first Big 12 version of the Holy War is going to be glorious. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, even though Utah is down, they're going to want to win this football game. Like I said, it's a rivalry. Anything can happen. So let's reveal the last one here. Arizona State. They still have Kansas State at 4 and Colorado at 3. I'm not sure how you do that. I don't know. It is what it is. I was willing to put Colorado up. They didn't do anything. Iowa State lost the game. At some point, you can't reward teams for losing. It just in my opinion, you can't reward teams for losing. So, and to say Kansas State only dropped 4, I guess I can see that. I don't know. I rewarded the other teams a little bit more than that.
I agree.
But not bad on as far as my rankings versus the publishers this week. So Fitz, it is going to be a very, very interesting week in the Big 12. There again, we had a couple of weeks back, we had a week where it was kind of legitimacy. Where do you stand up as far as being a legitimate contender with the Big 12? I think this is another one of those weeks. I just think that there's a lot to be resolved. Where last week we didn't think that it was going to be a very good slate of football games. We were dead wrong. This week, I think we know that it's going to be a good slate of football games, but there's a lot of meaning on the line. Not that every week there's not some meaning on the line, but these contests this week, there's going to be either some comeback to the pack or some separation. And we're going to see that this week. I'm excited for it.
I am off to vote, and I'm going to write in Brett Yormark. I feel like I like him being in charge. I trust him being in charge. It's a late campaign push here, but Yormark for president.
Aha.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. It's not a horrible idea at all. So I'm interested to see what happens this weekend, man. It's going to be some really, really good football. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us. Again, as always, remember to like, follow, subscribe, continue to leave those comments. We're getting very, very close to getting to 3,000 subscribers. So want to try to hit that before the end of the year. We appreciate everybody's support. Thank you, guys. We will talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching the Big 12 Insiders, your Big 12 sports show. This has been a Spirit Street production.